All right, peace and love, world. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Zoe. Today's a monumental day. This is Conversations with Zoe times Justin Dunn, my guy. What's going on?
What up, Zoe? Appreciate you for having me on here, bro.
Appreciate it, man. I was a little thrown off when you called me the OG. You know what I'm saying?
You the OG?
Yeah. I know it's new for me, though. You know, it's new for me.
No, for anybody that don't know, Zoe's the OG. For anybody that came through the boys club around the same time I came through, Zoe was big bro. So he's always been OG for me for a long time.
Yeah. You know, I definitely. I mean, if I could think about when I was coming up, you know, Shane Rogers was the OG for me. So he put on a lot for us, and so I made it my thing to always just be Shane Rogers for somebody else, you know. And that was the guys coming up under me. And so it meant a lot to me, man. So definitely introduce yourself, man, to the crew.
So I'm Justin Dunn, from New York, born and raised. I'm a right-handed pitcher for the Seattle Mariners right now. And God is good, man. That's about it. That's all I got for you.
Absolutely, man. God is the greatest, man. So we're going to start with our Q&A. We're going to take the flow. We're going to go through the beginning, Little League, high school, summer ball. We're going to talk academics. Pretty much a flow of things that we feel young ball players out there should know. We're doing this to shed light and trying to get more men of color playing baseball, you know, more black players playing baseball. So what does baseball mean to you?
Bro, baseball, whenever I get asked this question, baseball is my happy place. So baseball is my outlet for when I had a bad day, when I had family stuff going on, when I had heartbreak, anything, man, any emotion, anger, rage. I would just go out. And at the time it was hit. That's where I'd get it out. But I've always felt something different about being on the mound, and the easiest way to say it is I'm at peace in the world. Everything is right. That's the purpose that God put for me on my life. So I know whenever I'm up there, that's what I'm supposed to do. And no matter what happens, good day, bad day, it's a beautiful day anytime I get to get out there and play the game and put a uniform on and just play with 9 other guys, man. So it's a beautiful thing and it's a blessing.
Absolutely, man. That's a beautiful thing, man. I feel the exact same way. I'm a person that I've always sort of kind of felt, you know, baseball is like my sanctuary, you know. And when it wasn't, that is when baseball wasn't fun anymore. So I'm very grateful that I got that opportunity to just go out there and just zone it out. You know, that's one of the best things ever. So let's start from the beginning, man. How was Little League for you? Like, when did you start playing baseball?
Little League started for me at 7 in Queens, maybe a little younger. I played T-ball in Queens at HBQVB. I don't even know if it's still around, honestly. But my earliest memory was we had to practice one day in the field, and they hung this little tire up, and they were like, yo, can you throw the ball through the tire? So a couple kids had gone before me, and they couldn't do it. And I just went 1, 2, 3 and put 3 through there, and they were like, whoa. And it just kind of felt normal to me. Like, I was like, oh, this is easy. Just kind of my dad and I grew up watching him play, and playing catch with him was always fun. And that was my earliest memory. But Little League, and then we moved out to Long Island when I was a little older and played Baltimore League for a little bit, and then got on the AAU circuit, man, and things were crazy. Started off playing two-way, pitching shortstop on a really good team in Long Island called the Long Island Playmakers, traveling all over the country, seeing teams from Virginia, Florida, just getting opened up to a whole new world of baseball, man. So that was crazy for me. And then doing that, honestly, up until prep school. And then the summer ball kind of slowed down of playing for different teams. I picked one team, and it was starting to get onto the summer circuit of colleges and the pro ball and all that good stuff. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so it all started around 7, but it was a lot of good times, a lot of bad times. I wasn't always the best player. I felt like I was. I had to deal with a lot of doubt from people on my teams who never really thought I was a good player. But it taught me perseverance and self-belief through it. So I'm extremely grateful for those times that I went through.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to your pops, because that's my dog. You know what I'm saying? You know, me and your pops is like this. So he's a good guy. He's a good man.
Yeah.
I definitely want to give him his flowers. Definitely being a family guy and raising you right and always being there. So definitely want to give a shout out to your dad.
I love that.
I definitely want to shift it a little, and I'm targeting my young guys and my athletes from college, high school, little league. How were your grades?
How were my grades? My grades weren't the best, but that was on me solely because I didn't understand the importance of academics, honestly.
Yeah.
And it didn't hit me till I got to college, bro. So the thing about me is at 11 years old, I told my mom I was going to get drafted and play pro ball. At 12, I told her I wasn't going to go to college. I was going to go in the first round. Yeah. So when I was in high school, I didn't care. Everything I did was just solely based off I'm going in the first round. Like, I don't care. So I was walking in that mission, and they always told me you need to have school. You need to have school as a backup plan. And I never understood it until I got to college and I started failing in baseball. And I realized, like, yo, this isn't as easy as I think it is. Yeah. You got to set yourself up to have a backup plan. And my grades at home when I was with my mom and my dad were great. I applied myself. My mom stayed on me. She didn't allow me to drift off away from academics. But in prep school, when you're by yourself and I'm still learning myself and everything, and as a freshman through senior, they kind of slipped a little bit and got better as I had to focus to get into college. Like I said, struggle on the field, and my college coach calls me in and was like, yo, you got to go to summer school because you might not be eligible to play if you stay on this track. And then when he said that, it hit me of like, this game could get taken away from me because I'm not taking school seriously. Like, really? I'm not going to class, and so I could lose the game because I'm not going to class. It all flipped. I had like a 3-0 that summer, and then like another 3-0 to follow. And school kind of started to tick up together, and coincidentally, man, my baseball started to take off at the same time. Yes. Academically took off, baseball took off. I learned how to work. In the classroom, which taught me how to work in the gym, which taught me how to work on the field. And they all just came into a perfect storm and led into my junior year, man. So take it from me. Start it earlier, man. Start it earlier. Don't wait until it's about to get taken away before you start the whole process.
Absolutely. I definitely love that you said that. It all correlates. They all go hand in hand. If you're consistent in every part of your life, that's what you call really putting in work. But you just can't hone in on one part and consider yourself great. Be a great, even you look at like Tom Brady or something like that. He looks like he's a great dad. He's a great coach. He's a great teammate. He's a great quarterback. All of those things. So being great starts at being great at everything. And like you said, JD, is the game could have been taken away from you for not going to class. Mm-hmm. Now, how many guys that didn't click for, the numbers are too high to count.
Exactly.
But you're a guy that didn't let it, and that's really important that you did it. Thank God you didn't, because, Seattle needs you today, So that's important. So now the underdog mentality.
Yeah.
I've known you for a long time. You weren't always, what are you, 6'4" now?
6'2", 218, 220, 219. Yeah.
So that wasn't a reality your whole career.
Yeah, no. Far from it.
So how tall were you going into high school?
Going in, bro, you know the answer. You're going to make me say it. Going into high school, I was...
Some little kid needs to hear this.
All right, going into high school, the easiest way I'll say it is my grandmother was 4'11". I wasn't taller than my grandmother. I don't know the exact number, but I wasn't taller than my grandmother going into high school. I was probably 110 pounds soaking wet. So, but I always thought I was like your size. Like I tried to play like I was like you. Because that's the way my pops raised me was, one, being a black man in baseball, you got to be 10 times better. Being a black man in life, you got to be 10 times better. So I put that perfectionism viewpoint on myself since I was a little kid. And then playing with kids older and playing up and playing with kids bigger, especially where we're from in New York, it's eat or get eaten. And I wasn't going to get eaten. You know, I've been punched in the mouth enough times to realize, all right, it's time for me to hit somebody back. And I wasn't going to allow someone your size, we'll just use you for an example, I wasn't going to allow somebody your size to throw the first punch at me. I was going to try to hit you first and let you know, hey, I'm coming to play. That's all it is. I'm here to play. I'm just as big as you are. And that's kind of how I looked at it, and still look at it to this day. And that really started, like I said, when I was coming up in summer ball and everything, I was pitching championship games, and when we were real little and winning championship games, I think I was like undefeated as a kid in championship games. You know, we didn't lose. And then all of a sudden kids started hitting puberty a little bit before me and growing before me and throwing harder and hitting balls further. I slowly started going down to pitching like opening round games, which for my team, I knew was like, we just throwing anybody out there at that point. We're saving our guys for the end. So I took that as like, y'all throwing me? That's disrespect. Don't ever disrespect me like that. And that was the first time I ever had a chip really put on my shoulder of like, don't ever disrespect my name like that ever again. I'm better than that. And so that's when I first started to really focus more and got that underdog mentality. And even sometimes now in pro ball, I'll see things people say on Twitter and Instagram, and that will come back out like, oh, okay. Put some respect. I'm gonna put some respect back on my name. I'll see you again. Y'all ain't just gonna talk crazy about me. I see everything. And I just think part of it's from where we're from. We're raised to be that way. And then just the guys we've played with coming up have made us that way, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's really amazing stuff, man. And definitely just coming from the standpoint of, you know, resilience, you know, like you got to be tough, you know, and you're not going to just let anyone just say anything or do whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to prove yourself, and that's just mental. That a lot of that is toughness, but it's also mental toughness, you know, being able to dig deep within yourself and have your own standards as a ball player. So then let's like skim through high school. Like, what was your work ethic like in high school, and how did it develop from freshman to senior year?
Yeah, so I was blessed, man. I had a great coach in Jeff Trundy. He worked with me day in and day out, man. Like, I talk about it all the time. I'll go pull up my high school email. There's probably 4 years logged of just Thursday or Friday night emails. Coach, what time we open in the gym today? What time we open in the cage today? What time we going to hit ground balls today? What time can we go work on shadow pitching? What time can we do this? Can we do this? And he would be out there and work with me, man. I was on the field. You never had to worry about me working. I was always out doing something. And again, that's just my pops, the way he's raised me. Freshman year, I didn't play. I think I started one game. Freshman year, didn't play. Sophomore year, played shortstop. Didn't pitch. Like, he didn't pitch me. Junior year, he just started to pitch me a little bit more. Still only played shortstop, third base. And then senior year, I only had 12 innings my senior year. Still didn't pitch me. And he said that was because he was just trying to save my arm and save my bullets. And even when he pitched me, it was just go be athletic. Just go pitch. I'm not going to tell you anything. Go pitch. And looking back, that's what made me who I am today. And I'm really thankful for that. But freshman year, small. Sophomore year, grew a little bit. Finally got to like 5'3", 5'4". Junior year, 5'6", 5'7", and then senior year, I grew to 6 feet. Velo really jumped. It was the start of me like hitting puberty. And things started to click my junior year a little bit. Got some college looks. I committed to BC my junior winter, and then got some draft looks my senior year, and ended up getting drafted by the Dodgers after my senior year.
Wow. So that's new to me. I didn't know you got drafted out of high school. Yeah. What made you not go?
Bro, I think it honestly goes back to my dad again and my mom. They sat me down. Like I told you earlier, that's my dream. Like, my dream was I'm not going to college. I thought I was going to get drafted in the first round of high school. That's just how I believed in myself. But my dream was I'm not going to college. So when the Dodgers called and they were willing to take me decently high, but my dad kind of looked at me and said, hey, and I didn't have an agent or an advisor at the time. So it was my family making this decision. And my dad looked at me and said, are you ready to go to work with men? And just said that to me on the couch. And I remember hearing those words, and my immediate answer was yes. And he asked me again, Justin, if you say yes again and I send this text message, there's no going back. Are you ready to go to work with men, mentally, physically, and emotionally? And I had to sit there and say, at 5 foot, not even, at 6 foot, 150 pounds, I'm not ready to go to work. Like, I wasn't ready for that. Prep school prepared me to be on my own. Yeah, great. But I wasn't ready for work. And I didn't look at the game as a job at that point. It was still just a game. And hindsight, if I would have went and had some of the struggles I had my freshman year in pro ball, I probably got released right there on the spot, man, because I wasn't drafted. I wouldn't have been drafted high enough or had the financial investment to where they would have let me stick around and figure it out. I don't think.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
No, that's what it's all about. I definitely appreciate your vulnerability. I definitely appreciate, that's real. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of kids, they really feel like I gotta hit that draft. I have to go.
Yep.
For some guys, and this is not for everyone. Like maybe the one in like LeBron, right? I don't think LeBron is one of the very few that didn't need college. He was just that good at that time to go up there, to go to the NBA. But then there's some guys, who just, think Buddy something, right? Those 4 years of college did them good. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's different. And in this new age of everyone's trying to treat athletes like robots, everybody's reality, and let's get a little spiritual, God's plan is not written the same for everybody.
Everybody, exactly.
It's just not. We're not A-Rod. We're not going to be 19 years old, playing shortstop for the Mariners. It's just not going to be. Not everybody's Griffey the Kid. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. Like, focus on your reality and where you could end up. And I'm really glad that, you had two great parents who were willing to steer you in the right direction. And I'm glad that it wasn't a financial thing where it's like, oh, I have to go because I got to get the money. It was just more like you could have went either way. You've been good either way. But developmentally on the diamond, you were not ready. And it takes a man to make that decision. And shout out to your pops again for holding it down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For sure. So then, as far as, the coaches, like, I know you mentioned the coach from Gunnery. He's my guy. I almost went to Gunnery, but then Suffield was just the place for me.
Campus, yep.
But talk about the coaches that you had in your life, and what do you remember what do you consider a great coach to be?
So obviously, Coach Trundy. And the first one I honestly had, and I didn't really realize how good he was at the time because I was so young, was my pitching coach from home, still to this day, Glenn Mitchell. And he teaches us how to be the best version of us. And there's a few guys that he still works with now that are older that I still talk to. But everything is understanding me because at the end of the day, on a spiritual level, on a mental level, on a physical level, I'm all I have. And so if I can't understand Justin, it doesn't matter. You could be the best coach in the world and the Mariners organization come to tell me something. If I don't know who I am as Justin, I won't be able to receive your information the right way to make it fit me. And it could throw me down a rabbit hole and I'll never come back. And so that's first and foremost. So I'm extremely thankful for Coach Mitch. And then Coach Gambino at BC, he taught me so much about life and becoming a better man and academically, how to work. And he was part of the catalyst that taught me how to work that year. Like I said, that conversation we had. And then Coach Foster at BC, he was my pitching coach my sophomore, junior year. And he was kind of the one who taught us how to read hitters and all that stuff, which has been really big for me lately in pro ball. And just his attention to detail and routine and everything was super, super beneficial for me. And the biggest thing is all those guys never coached me the same way they coached you. They would coach individually to the player and find a way to relate to me. And so that's why those four right there are my guys.
Yeah. I just want to say I never met those guys, but I love all those guys. You know? and I know I'm a lot as a coach, you know, but it's because I know, you know, there's no statistic behind what I'm passionate about, but what those guys each did for you, that's what coaching is about. 100%. Especially as a college coach, you need that. Not everybody on their team got drafted, right?
No, my junior class, we did really well, but not everybody.
Yeah, but not everybody. And out of those 4 years, it wasn't 100% drafted.
Never.
Right? Never. So at the end of the day, Coach Gambino, right? He made sure that when it's alumni weekend, he has good men coming to see him.
Oh, 100%. And I think it shows, especially just talking about BC. We have this thing called Mentor Night. And G-Bread, Gabe.
Yeah.
Gabe, he hooked Gabe up so much and helped Gabe out so much and helped not only Gabe, but other guys. Just the network of BC baseball that he created is unbelievable. Yeah. He's the man. He's the man.
You got to set up an interview if you can. You know, I'd love to talk to him. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Coach, we can talk. I'll talk to him.
Yeah. Is he still at BC?
Yeah. He's still at BC.
Yeah, let's get that going because, you know, a lot of my audience is the youth and young baseball players. So it'd be nice to have a you know, ACC Division I coach on Conversation with Joe and have the conversation. But that's what coaching is about. Those are the coaches players remember. The guys who are thinking long term, not just about Justin. Like, shout out to first of all, let's give Coach Chundy his flowers too, because most guys wouldn't have cared. They would have been like, you know what, I'm gonna use you while you here. Like, I'm not worried about where you going. I'm worried about where you are. And for him to see that projection, I'm sure he could have probably won more games had you pitched, or it all could have been about what benefits him. But the fact that he did what benefits you, that's remarkable. You know what I'm saying? And that's amazing. And that's not for many people. You know, lots of guys, you know, their arms are shot. You know, guys coming out of college, 2-3 arm surgeries, you know, that's the reality of just being used and abused. You know, and guys just ready for the moment, you know. So just hit on it a little bit. But what was the transition as far as work ethic, weight room, and those kind of commitments from high school to college?
Oh, man, what night and day. I didn't work out. And to this day, I think that's the reason I wasn't in a better position to go out of high school. If I would have worked out and knew what I knew in college me, I think I would have had a lot more success in high school and probably hit my velo jump a little earlier. And who knows what could have happened from there. But like you said, God's timing is perfect. So I'm not really tripping on it. But freshman year came in, got shell shocked, man. Like, never been in the weight room before. I'm talking, they had to peel me off the floor. I didn't know what was going on. I'm sitting in class with ice packs on my legs, trying to figure out how to walk and go to practice. And it was tough. But after a while, and I got into the routine, I started to honestly love working out. Like, almost to the point where the season ends now and I feel weird not doing anything. So I'll just go to the gym just to do a little something with my trainers, just to ease myself back into that process faster, because I love the process of breaking it down and then being able to see, like, right now, all the hard work I put in, and let's see how it pays off going into this season. And that all started that freshman summer when I stayed to work out and was really dedicated to training and what I was eating and everything I was putting into my body. And it really started to take off.
Yeah. So just to circle back for the young guys, like, how do you, in different parts of your life, and even today, I always like to talk about this a little bit. How do you pick trainers? It seems like kids are sort of kind of willing to train with anyone, and that sort of kind of hurts their development. But how do you pick trainers?
Are we talking strength trainers or like coaches? Like,
anybody, like anybody you're gonna work with or coach or train with, all season, private lessons,
okay.
that kind of stuff, because that's kind of the new boom now. But like,
Yep.
how do you, like, as far as individual work, how do you pick those guys? How do you vet those guys?
All right. So obviously my pitching coach, Coach Mitch, I've had him since I was 11.
Yeah.
The reason I'm still with Coach is, like I said, he's not trying to change. He's trying to help me grow as me. Perfect example. Me in Boston College and me now are two different people. I'll never be able to go backwards to where I was then. I can only take the lessons and grow with them. And the person I'm going to be in 5 years from now, I'll never be able to be this Justin I am now. And so he's teaching me how to grow and understand myself. And also at the same time, on a pitching level, understand my body, because my body is the body that's pitching. So if I can understand me, like I said, I'll be able to accept your changes that you want to make and make them better for myself. And the big thing is just all is one. Everything works together, from routine to throwing to long toss to pitching to my mechanics to game plans. It all works together. So he's helping me in that aspect. In the weight room, I work out with two guys, TJ Lopez while I'm in New York at Athletic Movement Protocol, and then in Florida, Eric Cressy. I started with Cressy when I was in college. He was the first person I really got into with weight training, and Eric is arguably the best of the best in the business when it comes to strength training. And I got with him and saw the importance of weight training. Like I said, it started to click for me. And then I asked him for a referral to a guy in New York when I was home, and TJ was the guy he referred. Come to find out, my dad had brought me to TJ when I was 11 years old. Right before I was getting ready to go to the Gunnery, he brought me to TJ to get on a workout program while I was up there. So it's, again, funny how God works, man, bringing things full circle. But I've been with TJ since I was my freshman or my sophomore winter or freshman summer in college. We were together, and we've been together ever since. And I have a manual therapist who's really good and work with my body and understand my body. So I just try to pick guys who aren't necessarily trying to change, but help me grow. Because I think self-growth is the biggest thing. If you can grow yourself and continue to work on yourself, nobody will ever be able to tear you down.
Absolutely. So, now we're in college. Now we're in the ACC.
Yeah.
Like, what's it like going out there?
So funny story about my first day in college. And you want to ask Gabriel about this one, you can go ahead and ask Gabriel about it. So we got a fall inter squad. I was the one of the few guys, or I think I might have been the only guy, one of the few guys in my class or on the team at that point who had gotten drafted out of high school. So I kind of came in with a big head, right? And Gabe came up to me and was like, "Oh, you're facing Chris Shaw today." Chris had also gotten drafted and was our big power hitter the year before, freshman, balling. So he was like, "Oh, you're facing Chris. Don't throw Chris a down in the fastball." So I was like, "Gabe, he ain't seen my fastball, bro. First pitch, down and in." He goes, "All right, I'm just telling you, you my boy, you from New York. I'm trying to look out for you. I don't want you to get embarrassed out here." I was like, "I'm going to throw it down and in, first pitch." So I towed up, man, first pitch. He's like my second hitter I see at that point. I look at Gabe, look at the sign, catcher goes fastball away, shook, fastball in, throw it, boom. My man probably hit about 450, 460. Like anybody who ever plays the BC, our old field, it was like a fence and then the street. He hit it onto the street. And Gabriel started laughing, like going nuts. You know exactly how Gabe is.
Yeah,
Gabe started going nuts. And I've never been so embarrassed of like, okay, I'm playing with men now. I'm playing with big boys. Like, we got to strap it up. This isn't just, you ain't gonna be able to outstuff people anymore. There's another level to this game you have to learn. So my freshman year, the lesson I had to learn was command. I had to learn how to command the baseball. And then the next one was I got my new toy. I got this velocity that I had never had before. So now I have this little bit of command, but now I just want to throw it hard, and I want to throw it hard over the middle of the plate. And then I went to summer ball, and I got hit there. And so now I had to learn how to spin the baseball for a strike, right? That was my next lesson, to learn how to play in the ACC. And then my junior years, when things started to come together, and I got to change up, and I was spinning the ball for strikes. I was able to command the fastball a little bit better, and things just kind of clicked. But it was my first time really facing a lineup, man. Like, in high school, I'm facing you and I'm facing CJ. That's it. Yeah. I just got to get through you and CJ, and that's it. I'm all right. I got through the Suffield lineup. The rest I could care less about.
Yeah.
In the ACC, it was I got to get through 1 to 7.
Yeah.
Or 1 to 9 when we play in the big programs, and 3, 4, 5 all had the potential to go in the first round. So I had to learn how to pitch and play some dudes coming up. So that was the big thing for me. And like I said, my junior year, I learned how to read swings. I learned how to sequence. I learned how to call my own game. And that's when things kind of took off. And I learned how to kind of be a pro at that point. But being in the ACC was the start of me playing against professionals, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. And definitely that goes into our next segment. When I was telling you, I remember I spoke to you over the summer, and you said, playing in the Cape Cod, was like facing 3 and 4 guys the whole lineup, because I remember reading an article about you dominating in the Cape Cod. I'm like, bro, like, how'd you do that? But like, what was that feeling? What was the Cape like? For all of us who've always wanted to play in the Cape, what was that like?
It was fun, man. And that process started my freshman summer, honestly. And like I said, I think this comes with the self-growth of understanding myself and who I want to be. But I had went and pitched against the Cape team I went and played for, and beat them in summer ball. I played in a men's league team while I was doing summer school, and they went down and played them, and I beat them, and they offered me a contract. And I talked to Coach Trundy. He was the first phone call I got because he coaches in Falmouth. And he had always told me, you'll play on the Cape. I'm going to be the last one to offer you because I don't want anyone to think you got here because of me. I want you to earn it. So I called him and I was like, Coach, what should I do? And we started talking about it, and he explained to me the Cape is where you make your name. And so I sat there, and then I called Coach Gambino, or I called my family, and I was like, I don't know. One, I had made a commitment that I was going to go play in Baltimore. So I was like, I'm going to be a man of my word, and I'm going to go to Baltimore first and foremost.
Yeah.
But it also clicked for me. I don't just want to play on the Cape. I want to be one of the best up here. In my freshman year, I could have played on the Cape and just been another name.
Yeah.
But I called my college coach, and I was like, hey, let this guy know I'll be back next year. But when I come back next year, I'm going to come back to dominate the Cape. Like, I'm not just coming to play up here.
Yeah,
Coach, when I come.
Just to play in the Cape.
Yeah, I don't want to say I played in the Cape. I want people to look at see my name in some columns on the Cape. I want to come up on the Cape, and I want to be dominant. I want to establish myself on the Cape. And I went down to Baltimore and had some more stuff to learn. And that's kind of what I did is I went back and had a really good year, had some good catchers, had a good defense, had a good coaching staff. And at the time I was closing, so I had a good lineup that put me in some situations to get some saves, and was just in the right place at the right time, and had some really good success, man.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. So then obviously, the junior year, everything clicked. We dominate the Cape. So what was the draft process like?
The draft process was quick and crazy for me because my junior year, I started in the bullpen, and I didn't really realize I'm the person that hates to lose. And for us to get to Omaha, my way to help the team was closing. So I was happy about that. I could care less about my draft status. I just want to go to Omaha. My advisors at the time were like, hey, if you start, you could really make some huge helium. Like, maybe go talk to your coach about starting. And I was like, that's cool. Wherever I go, I'm going to make my money in pro ball anyway. Like, that, it is what it is. Like, I just want to get my foot in the door. But if I can get to Omaha, I can check off a childhood dream of also I wanted to play in the College World Series as a really young kid. So I could say, I played in the College World Series. I was part of the team that helped get BC back to where they needed to be baseball-wise.
Yeah.
And after a couple of weeks, I wasn't really pitching. We got off to a crazy hot start, and I had a couple saves, and we were rolling. And then we had like a 2-week skid where I didn't touch the ball. And my pitching coach, I'll never forget it. We were playing Harvard, we were playing UMass Amherst on a midweek, and midweeks were kind of like my days off, so I could pitch every day on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And my pitching coach was like, "Yo, go get loose. You're going in. Only thing is, you don't have a slider and you don't have a curveball. You got fastball, changeup. Go get the save." And it was the best my changeup's ever been to this point in my life. And the next week, my coach called me in and was like, "Hey, we need you to start." And I was like, "All right, if that's just going to help the team do it." And I had a good game, and things kind of just took off from there. Next thing I know, there were a lot of scouts. My agents were talking about now the first round's real, or my advisors at the time were talking about first round is a real possibility. Da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I just got to go pitch. That's all I'm focused on is going to pitch.
Yeah.
And then we made the playoffs, and it was the first time we had been in the playoffs in a long time. And so draft time was right after the regionals. So my last audition before the draft was a regional game, and I kind of looked at it as, if I win this game, not only does it help my team, but it's going to help me. So I'm going to put my focus on winning this game for my guys. If I win this game for my guys, we just got to win 2 more, and we go to a super. We get to a super, anything can happen. And I did that. We won. Had a really good game, and ended up getting drafted in Miami. And my college coach was like, "Hey, MLB called. They want you to go to New York for the draft." And my mom had always seen me getting drafted in Studio 42. That was her dream for me, but I wanted to be with my guys. That was more important. And like I said, I was still in Miami, and we were still playing for something. And I looked at it as, if I get on this flight, I got to take 3 flights back and forth, and then have to pitch. Like, I'm not going to be at my best. The draft is great, but I'm here right now. I'm still wearing a BC jersey. I'm not signing any contract until this is over with. So, coach, we're going to do a draft party as a team, and then we're going to go play the next day. So it was pretty cool, man, to have, and there's a video of it on YouTube, but to hear my name called and go crazy with my teammates, and then not even at the time really understand that I got my name called by a New York team, to become a home, have the chance to come home and play. And but like I said, I was so focused on just going to play that I just went right to bed. My phone exploded. I went to bed, woke up the next morning. It was kind of my first taste of being a pro. I had interviews that next morning. There was another first rounder in our drafts, in our regional. So it was like a really hyped up regional, and there's a lot of pressure going in, but I didn't end up getting a win or going to Omaha, but it was pretty cool experience to be able to share that with all my teammates and family and friends.
No, absolutely. You just gave me goosebumps, bro. Like that definitely was a special moment. And for you to just stay in that moment, you know, to be like, I'm still an Eagle. You know, that's what you, all right. You're still an Eagle. You're still at BC. You with your dogs. And you also were mature enough to know, like, I'm young, but going back and forth and doing all of that, just run around for something that I know is going to happen. But I'd rather experience it with my guys, with the guys that I love and the guys that I got to this point with. Like, there's no way I'm gonna get to this point and not be there, you know. And that was the biggest thing, you know. That's amazing, bro. And that takes me back to a little short story of when I was in Austria, and you know, one of my teammates he wanted to go on vacation before the World Series, you know, before the final round. And I'm like, bro, like, what did we play for all season? And it was all because his girlfriend was pissed at him because he's been spending so much time playing baseball. And I'm like, bro, like, if she's not there after this, then she probably wasn't meant for you. But we're gonna make history, bro. Like, my family is in New York. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't come here to lose. You know what I'm saying? I'm 6 hours ahead. You know, my whole life is here. I don't have family. I came here to sacrifice everything. So if you can't sacrifice for the team, I think you should give your jersey up and just never come back. And I was just that mad because I'm like, you know, what are you talking about not coming to the game, you know, for going on vacation with your girl? Like, that's the craziest thing I've heard in my life.
That shouldn't have even been a question.
It shouldn't even be that thought. So I'm like, yo, you don't come up, we're not friends no more, don't talk to me no more, whatever.
Yeah.
And he got it, but it was just like, this is that important. And we won our first championship in 20 years. and I was a part of that. But that was a beautiful thing. So now to circle back, so now we get drafted, and some of young guys, I love to talk about transitions. Now, what's the transition from college to the pros?
Work is work now. You know what I'm saying? You get your first paycheck. Now you're dealing with media. Now you're dealing with, you got bosses, there's coordinators, you're not just playing you're playing to get somewhere. And I think the first thing I had to realize was not everybody in that locker room with me is there for me. They're not there to have my best interest. They could care less if I have a good game or a bad game. So I can't go to the person to the left of me after a bad game and say, yo, pick me up. Like, I had a rough day. I need your help. Because honestly, they're more happy that I had a bad day than anybody. Because if I have a bad day with where I got drafted, it elevates their game. That's not saying everybody in minor league baseball is like that.
But that is a reality.
Yeah, that was a reality I had to learn. And like I said, and me, I'm family with everybody. When we put on the same uniform, you're my brother. I got your back, you got my back. I'm gonna go to war with you. So for me, it was tough. I had to come to grips with that, and I had a lot of calls with Coach Gambino about like just not having fun going to the locker room. The game's not fun anymore. And in the midst of all of that, I'm having the worst season of my career, and being away from home. I mean, I went through essentially a panic attack. I had panic attacks, anxiety, was depressed for a little bit there. I went through a lot, man. I'll never forget. I had one bad game and went to the locker room, punched a hole in the wall, and basically hyperventilated in a bathroom stall on the phone with my mother. Just like, I need you to come get me. I can't do it. And like, brown paper bag moment, bad. And she just kind of calmed me down. I was like, you're gonna be all right. It'll be okay. I'll be on a flight. I'll get on a flight in the morning is what she said. I'll get on a flight in the morning. And I called my girlfriend and she's like, it's okay. I'll get on a flight in the morning. My girlfriend ended up coming. But my mom called me and I was like, Ma, I don't need you. She goes, I know I raised you to go through this. You'll be okay. I knew I just needed to you just needed to calm down and get through it. And that was the first thing I learned. And over the course of that year, I got hurt. People tried to change things in my delivery and I wasn't able to accept the change and lost who I was. So that off season, I got back to me of being Justin and having fun and loving the game again and finding passion. And the next year I had a really good year, won pitcher of the year, and then got traded and then made my debut the next year. So the minor league journey has been a great one since 2017. But that tough year was honestly everything for me. I'd been through so much because of it, and it's made me the person I am today.
Yeah. So did you pitch in the show for the Mets?
No, never got to play at home, man. That was what kind of stunk. It was, I won pitcher of the year with them, got to AA, looked like I was about to go to AAA and be knocking on the door. And I was kind of starting to plan my life. Like, my best friend's like, yo, when I get called up, we about to live over here in LIC, da-da-da. I told my girlfriend, like, yo, get ready. Like, when it happens, you're going to come down. Life is going to be great. When they call me up, yo, don't even worry about where you fly me into. Fly me into JFK. I don't need a hotel. I don't need a car. I don't need nothing. I'm going to get in an Uber. I'm going to put the key in the front door. I'm going to go surprise my family. I already had everything started to be planned out of how I was going to tell my family that we had achieved the childhood dream being in New York and had this vision of what it was going to be like. So when I had gotten traded, it was just kind of like, yo, I'm going across the world. Like, it's not even like I'm just going one state over. I'm going all the way to the other side, to the Pacific Northwest that I knew nothing about. But again, it's funny how God's timing is everything, man, because in 2016, if you would have asked me where I was going to get drafted, I was going to tell you I was going to be a Mariner, for real. I thought I was going to be a Mariner getting out of the draft, and it looked like that's where I was going to go. So when I got traded, I kind of got over the whole, I'm not happy about this. Like, I wanted to play at home, to, nah, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, something really cool is going to come of this. Yeah. And it took me a day or two just leaving leaving the friends
Yeah.
than the trade itself. It was just I had become close with Alonzo and McNeil, and it looked like we were going to start to play together and do some things. And so after that, it was just like, okay, I'm going to have to start fresh. And I'm a shy person, so I don't like to start fresh and meet new people. And especially once I already got comfortable, I was just starting to learn everybody over there. So that was probably the tough part for me. But getting over there, man, getting over to where I'm at now, I love it. The guys are great. We got a great clubhouse. We're building a great culture in our clubhouse. Our veteran leadership is amazing. And I think we're going to do something really special. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Like I was kind of bummed when you got traded, because I remember you sent me tickets, and I went to the, what are they called? The Brooklyn Cougars? No, not the Brooklyn
Cyclones.
The Cyclones, right.
Yeah.
Me and my home went and saw you pitch at the Cyclones. You did your thing. So I thought that was going to be like a regular thing. Like, I got my guy in the city. Look, I will come to Seattle if you hold it
Come
down.
on. But Seattle's dope, bro. Come on.
All right. So listen, the world has seen it. The man has invited me. So I'm pulling up for sure. But, life changes. And that's the beautiful thing about being a baseball player and being an athlete, that life is all about adjustments. It really is all about rolling with the punches, and things may not always work out the way you want them to. But I love you for saying that, like, God has his own timing. Like, God has his own plan. And you thought New York was for you, but Seattle was really for you,
Mm-hmm.
and you're there and you're flourishing. And this is only the beginning of your dominance there. But, there were things that you had to learn in the Mets organization that helped you to get to where you are now, So that's just, loving the process and things like that. And that's a beautiful thing. So we kind of touched on a lot of things, and we expounded on a lot of things that I wanted to talk about. I just want you to touch a little bit about, you mentioned earlier about routine, your diet. So I want you to talk a little bit about your routine, your diet, and how every off season is different. I think guys kind of go into every season as kind of the same, but every season is different, and you're not going to get the same result, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, so I'm pretty routine oriented, almost to the point of it's superstition. So there's a fine line with me, to the point of I got time to when I got to call my mom before the game, and and where I got to be and what I got to do. Off season wise, I'm pretty regimented, man. I get home, take about 2-3 weeks off, then I get back in the gym, start doing some little stuff. To then around end of November, early December, I get on a plane and I go to Florida, and I start training down there with Eric Cressy, and that's when I start my throwing. And the reason I do that is not that family is a distraction, not that friends are a distraction, but to get away from Justin the person, to focus. And that's kind of like my light switch is getting flipped of it's time to go to work. Like, we're working now. So I'm kind of in a way going 0 dark 30, but I'm not, I'm just in Florida in good weather with one of my college roommates, and we just train and throw and play golf and de-stress, and also just kind of unwind and wind down before the craziness really starts, and get some good quality work in, and be around guys like Max Scherzer and Noah Syndergaard and things like that, to kind of silently push you to train harder. And it's when you look over and Max Scherzer's in the trap bar with 500 pounds deadlifting.
Yeah.
He's got multiple Cy Youngs. I'm going to deadlift 500 pounds. Like, I'm going to work to be the Cy Young, so it's a silent push that I get when I'm down there. So that's why I love being down there. And then I'll come back home and spend the last little time with my family and my brother and my girlfriend and my friends. And then I'll head out to AZ and start spring training around now. And nutrition wise, that's actually something that's really been new for me, like really diving into it. And I think that's where I'm going to hit on your question a little bit of how things change, because there's different stages of where you're at. You get to a certain level where your plan or your routine works, but there's another level that you can go to. And right now I'm learning how accessing nutrition and sleep and things like that is taking my game to another level of untapping things that I've never done before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Tom Brady is a perfect example. Tom Brady and LeBron James. There's a reason why both of them put $1 million into their bodies every offseason. And there's a reason why they're always in some type of new phase of strength training or eating and things like that, because there's always a new level to go. There's always new science. There's always new things that you can do to make yourself better. So routines are adjustable. They're meant to be adjusted. So if you can figure out where the new things that you need to grow are, is the best way to fit yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely, before we get into the stuff that is probably the most important through everything, what are your goals?
My goals are to be the best version of myself that I can be. And that's by staying true to myself. At times I caught myself getting away from the Justin who loves to play the game, who loves to be a good teammate and things like that, just being in the big leagues and trying to adapt into my new life or into new settings and be around new people and learning how to navigate that whole world is something different. And I catch myself kind of going in and out of that person. But this year, just maintain true to who I am, maintain true to being Justin and play the game that I love and understand that it's the game. And at the end of the day, it can be taken away. So enjoy every moment I have out there. I want to get better every day. I want to be a better person. And then on the field, obviously you have the desires and dreams of being an all-star and a Cy Young and win a World Series. So that stuff is out of my control, but just really control what I can control every day. And that's how hard I work and the attitude I bring to the field every day. That's first and foremost, and probably the biggest one for me.
Absolutely. For the young guys out there, control what you can control. So your attitude, you're in control of it. Your work ethic, you're in control of it. Your grades, you're in control of it. You know, your mental approach, all of those things are in your control. So you actually have a lot more control than you give yourself credit. And you need to pay attention to those things, young guys, young fellas out there. So now is, we spoke about a lot about this before when we were catching up and things like that. You've seen a lot of things going on in the Black Lives Matter movement. Major League Baseball has been, very supportive, and they've been transitioning, and everyone's been around it. But how have you felt being Black and playing baseball?
I think last year was a tough year, but rewarding year for me, in a sense of the idea that it was the first time I got to use my platform and speak. And it was something that I've never done before. And it was very awkward for me at first, but I'm extremely grateful for the Mariners and Major League Baseball and everybody for having our backs as African-American players in this game and allowing us to speak first and foremost. But I think it really starts from being a kid, and not a lot of Black people play this game. And it was almost like a thing of, not almost, when I was a kid and I saw another Black player, my dad would go over and just talk to him and connect with him because we held that bond and we could relate to each other and just trying to grow the game and stay close to those that look like you, especially in a sport where not everybody does. So being Black in baseball, it's fun. You get to inspire a lot of youth kids, which is partially why I'm doing this right now, to show kids that it's obtainable, and I think there's not a lot of people, or not a lot of kids can't really relate to this game because they don't see too many people playing it. Mm-hmm. It's easy to see LeBron James dunking a basketball. It's easy to see Kevin Durant hitting a step back or a fade in the post, or seeing a wide receiver catching a touchdown in the end zone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But seeing you hit a home run, you don't see too many. And I think it was a beautiful thing last year. Both Rookie of the Years were African-American players. And but going through last year of having to see even grown men and D. Gordon cry in a locker room and hear the pain that he's went through on another level that I've never even experienced, being an African-American and him being from the South and my teammates being from the South, and the stuff they've had to deal with compared to what we've had to deal with in New York is completely different.
It's deeper.
It's deeper. And I have a whole new respect and admiration and love for my African American brothers from the South and the stuff they've had to deal with, and from the West and the Midwest and everywhere. You just kind of get to understand people more, and it's really tragic that we're having these conversations.
Yeah, for sure.
I think was the hard part of last year, was realizing that.
Absolutely, man. That's tough. So this is not an easy question, but feel free to expound on it. But have you experienced any racism on the diamond?
Yeah. Mainly just being called the N-word in the bullpen. I won't say at what schools or what parks or where, but it's happened before. I've had Gatorades dumped into my gloves, stuff like that. Been told to go back to the Negro Leagues, things like that. And like, again, compared to some of the stuff I hear from my boys from down south, that's light, and we talk about it all the time. As a culture, as a community, we're taught to just kind of wear it on the chin and keep it pushing because no one's going to hear it or listen to what we have to say anyway.
Yeah.
So even talking to my college coach now, and I tell him the stories because he had me come back and talk to the team just about some of the stuff and help them understand what was actually being said in the Black Lives Matter movement. And it's not the Marxist protesters, and that's not what we're talking about. This is what we're trying to get people to understand, and having them hear real stories from me of like, this happens, and teaching them like, hey, you guys may not understand it, but when I come to you and tell you, hey, I'm struggling with this, all I need you to do is have my back. Or if you hear it, don't encourage it. Just tell them, yo, shut up. That little stuff will go a long way. And hearing him say, why didn't you tell me this earlier? It was just because, one, I didn't know how. Two, I didn't think you would listen. And three, I'm just taught not to really say anything because it's just the way it is.
Yeah, facts. That definitely, it definitely takes a kind of a level of comfort and growth as a man to be able to talk about these things. Not to make it about me, but I've always kind of been caught in the middle, being Afro-Latino. My parents are from Honduras, so I'm a fluent Spanish speaker. I played baseball in the Bronx, so the Dominicans, the Puerto Rican flow, that kind of naturally comes to me. But, for the Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, I was too dark, and then for Black people, I'm not actually Black. So that's how you give a young kid an identity crisis, because where do I fit in? Like, I speak Spanish, I can understand you perfectly. I'm Black and I look just like you, but nobody really accepted me. So it was just like, the best thing I did was learn to accept myself, and that comes with age, that comes with kind of like wine, you sort of kind of, you develop, you ferment, and you start to become cool with Justin, the same way I had to become cool with Lorenzo. And even that with being in boarding school and stuff like that, we were in a predominantly white institution, like those schools were not meant for us. We were probably 30, 40 Black students in the whole school, you know what I'm saying? And probably 50, including faculty, you know what I'm saying? Maybe even less than that, including faculty. So here we are maneuvering through these white worlds that weren't built for us, and it's tough, because I have to find out how to be a non-threat, how to be approachable, how to make you feel comfortable around me. Because remember, I'm in your world. You're not in my world. I have to learn to maneuver your world, not my world. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the toughest things. So I feel like these are the obstacles that kind of deter young children, young Black children from baseball. So then how can we get more Black kids to play baseball?
That's tough, man. I'll say the biggest thing I could say is just show them the game. That's really all you can do. Get out into the inner city communities, the Boys and Girls Club program we went through as kids, but just show them that the game is fun. And I think some of it starts from the big league level of making the game fun again, bat flips and celebrations and music and cleats and fashion. And you can go down so many avenues to appeal to our people. But it's hard when LeBron James is getting all that publicity, and you see Kevin Durant, you see wide receivers in the league, and you see quarterbacks in the league, and you see running backs, and it's easy to see and want to be them because you see so many more of them. When you only see one or two of us, it's tough. So I think it's us as players getting back into the youth, like myself getting back home in New York and doing something at the boys club to get face to face and allow kids to see me and hear me speak, kind of like we're doing right now. And not just me, but every African-American player across the league, big league, minor league, it doesn't really matter, college, but just show kids and play the game with kids and show them it's fun and explain why we love the game and give them a chance to play it and hopefully feel the love themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a beautiful message. That's why I'm very happy to have you as my little brother, as my friend, as the young OG. It's a special thing. People may wonder, like, how the hell did he know him? But I came up with you. It's not really about, he's in the league now but we came up together. We came up through an organization, through Coach Bill and Antonio, and we from the mud, we from the sandlot together. So it's different. So the fact that I could, we've been close over the years. I can also expound on this. We used to talk a lot when you first got to Gunnery. I was an upperclassman at Suffield, and you were a young buck at Gunnery. And I remember those conversations where you were like, yo, I don't know if this is for me, and I'm glad I was able to be there for you. And I'm glad there were those before me that were able to be there for me. And I feel like that as a Black community is what's going to get us further. It's us getting to levels where we could reach out to the next brother or the next sister. You know what I'm saying? That's how we're going to really take back control of the narrative, because if not for that, then we're going to be, Jay-Z says, the higher I go, there ain't many of us. So since we know this, when you get there, look back. So maybe you could find a qualifying brother or sister to give that position to, whether it's an internship or whatever it is. Maybe you're a manager at whoever you are. I have a friend that she controls the internship for a construction company, and she only really targets Black interns. So here she is, really using her position to put on. So let's be like Atlanta, because Atlanta's kind of the only place that like really puts on for Black love and Black ownership. And I feel like that should be sort of kind of the vibe and the wave that we're on as a community, and especially in baseball, that, the Negro Leagues existed because we couldn't play with white people, Like, yes, they're giving Negro League players their flowers now and putting them in the Hall of Fame and nice stuff like that, but that only existed because we couldn't integrate. It was segregated leagues. So as we begin to wrap up, what's one thing you could have told your younger self? And then what's some advice you could give to the youth? So let's start with, what could you tell younger Justin Dunn? Or what would you tell him? If you were to be like, just to have a 2-minute conversation, like, yo, Justin, like, it's freshman year, you can start listening, bro. Like, what's something you could have told him? No, I don't want to. No. I can't take your answer.
No, that's it though.
Okay.
Listen, bro. Learn how to work now, so you don't have to learn how to work later, whether it's academically or physically. But definitely, I would have gotten in the gym a lot sooner. I would have tried to level the physical playing field as soon as possible. So that's my biggest regret to myself, and something I'm trying to instill in my little brother right now, and getting him to work now. So when he gets to college, he's not punched in the mouth like I was.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So now, as Coach
to the youth,
message to the youth.
My message to the youth is always the same, man. Like I said, I was never the person, or you could ask the people I played with, I was never going to be the person in their eyes that was going to be sitting in this seat. And I had a decision for myself as a kid. Did I want to let their version of me be who I am, or do I want to go try to achieve what I see in my head? So my advice to the younger kids is always, the mind is a very powerful thing. If you can see it, you can believe it. If you can believe it, you can do it. On that path, there's going to be times where you have to sacrifice. There's a lot of times that I don't have friends when I go home. Not a lot of times. I don't really have friends when I go home. I have the same 2 friends that I've had since I was 13, 14. I missed out on parties. I missed out on dances. I missed out on sleepovers because I wanted to work to get to where I had to go. And sacrifice is tough, but it's part of the journey to get to where you want. So first and foremost, again, if you can see it, you can believe it. And if you believe it, you can do it. So don't let anyone try to take you away from what you want to do in life. And secondly, sacrifice, man. You got to be willing to sacrifice to get to what you want in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my dad hit me with a line as a kid: do what you have to do what you want to do. So take care of the little stuff, and you can be able to do whatever you want in the long run.
Absolutely, man. Well, that's amazing. Do what you have to do to be able to do what you want to do. You threw a lot of gems today. A lot of, as the kids say, no cap. You know what I'm saying? You was putting it out there. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate you.
And I think you wasn't capping. So you wasn't capping means you was telling the good.
I was telling the truth. Yeah, I was telling the truth.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
listen, man, this whole lingo thing is a little different for me. But nonetheless, man, I greatly appreciate your time coming on a conversation with Zoe. So far I've been with some minor leaguers, and I still have some interviews to do, but I just started getting guests on here, and it's amazing that I got my brother on here. Best of luck this season. As a man of God to my brother in Christ, I wish you the best of luck. I'll definitely be praying for you, uplifting you in prayer. I'll definitely pull up to Seattle this summer to come see you and vibe with you and go to a game and things like that. Try to book it around the time I'll see you pitch. And those are amazing things, it's beautiful, to see me as an educator. And, I played a little ball myself, but to see you at the show, things that you spoke into fruition, things that you said, like, that's where I'm going to be. But you've also embraced the journey and the process. And you've also seen that you have to be a new Justin or a different version of Justin for every new stage that you're going to step on. And this is all beautiful, like now young boys and young girls get to watch this episode and really, do homework. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going to bring their notebook and a pencil and a pen, and they get to learn from one of the greatest and one of the best to be out there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very thankful for this, and, thank you so much, my man.
Of course, OG. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.